That's just how I am. I can't help it. But all of this Cinnamon Toast Crunch that I've consumed over the past lifetime has made me think that I might be a little bit less desirable to people, you know? But I guess, I don't know how to say this. I'm not trying to say that I'm goofy looking, but with looks like mine, I can put the brakes on an orgy pretty quick. I've never been in one, and I'm never gonna be, but I imagine it's the same as when I try to play pickup basketball. Nobody wants me on their team. They make me keep my shirt on, and by the end of it, I'm in the corner being entertained by my shoes. Have you guys realized that both socially and educationally, we seem to be falling short recently? You guys realize back in the Civil War era, supposedly, they only went to school till 8th grade, which is supposed to be the equivalent of our 5th grade. And I remember in middle school, we would read these letters that these Civil War veterans would send back home to their girlfriends or their lovers. And it would be real awesome. It was like, "My dearest Maria, my heart pines for you, my soul longs for you. I cannot wait until the day, the hour, the minute, the moment when I can feel you in warm embrace. Forever yours, Everett James Foster." Now, can you imagine in like 300 years, school children reading the letters that some of the people over in Afghanistan are sending their girls back home now? "Dear Maria, it is hot as hell here in the desert. Girl, that pic you sent was bang. All the guys agreed, girl. You fine. Girl, don't be sleeping around with nobody while I'm gone. Because I know how long I've been her. And I know that baby ain't been mine. Later, girl, B-Dog." It worries me to think of people like that. Speaking of modern relationships, this next bit's entitled "My Ex-Girlfriends." Stay with me. And for it, I'm going to need my good friend, Caleb Reifogel. Everyone give Caleb a hand. Now, despite what my father thought between the years of 2005 and 2007, Caleb is not one of my ex-girlfriends. It's always funny how things play out, though, isn't it? You know, growing up, I was fairly confident that I was kind of unstable. And then I met all of my ex-girlfriends. I know you guys are looking at me and you're thinking, I bet that guy used to get tons of women back. But I would go out, and women would always give me the eyes. You know? "I'm not interested. I have pepper spray. We have a restraining order." Typical bar banter things. But you see, my first girlfriend, everyone said she was kind of a slut, but I don't think she was. I mean, to take her side, she could count every guy she'd ever slept with on one hand, if that hand was holding a frickin' calculator. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter, see? Recently, she was in an accident. Yeah, she was ran over by a snowplow. Yeah.
Really?
And it was weird for me, because it was the first time I'd ever driven a snowplow before. She'd been plowed many a times, but it was new for me. Now you guys, oh, come on. Not all of them were bad. I dated this one girl who I was for sure was the one. When we broke up, she even made me cry. Oh, that could have been the mace. Or it could have been the frontal wedgie. I'm not sure. All I remember is that I was crying. And all my friends, they always ask me if I miss her. And I do. But that's just because I haven't had the scope on my rifle readjusted. I'll get her. In fact, we actually had one of those relationships where we thought it'd be a good idea to get a dog. Yeah. And then she broke up with me the next day. So I named the dog after her. Which reminds me, evil, conniving devil woman gets back from the vet on Monday. But like I said, it wasn't all bad. You know, one time, for Valentine's Day, she got me an 18-speed mountain bike. And I got her a broom so we could ride together. You guys ever have one of those relationships with commitment issues? You know, where one of you wants to commit adultery and the other wants to commit homicide? What about those psychological relationships? Where you're logical and they're psycho? I dated this one girl who had 2 gay cats. Now, I know what you're thinking. How did I know? These cats weren't biologically gay. No, these cats were born this, or they weren't born this way. These cats were prison gays. You know, after about 8 months of living together, one turns to the other one, he's like, hey, yo, Tony. Yo, bro, this might be the catnip talking, but I like the way your belly matches your paws. You know.
Hey, yo, Cody. This might be the Chinese food talking, but behind's looking pretty nice.
Caleb! And I knew they were gay because they were always licking each other and spooning in the windowsill and criticizing the way I dress. But probably the weirdest relationship I'd ever been in. I dated this very shy girl, and she knew nothing about intimacy or relationships or anything. And so I told her to get a book by Dr. Ruth, and she thought I said Dr. Seuss. And so things got very weird. She came home one night and was like, before we kiss, before we jam, can't we have green eggs and ham? I said, I do not want green eggs and ham. Hungry I'm not, sexy I am. And she said, I do not like to kiss and jam. I do not like it here nor there. I do not like it anywhere. Because I'm not a woman. Sam I am. Everyone give Caleb a hand. Caleb was actually telling me that he went to the store recently to buy some condoms, and he said he couldn't find them at Walgreens. And so we walked up to the pharmacy guy, and he was like, where are they? And then the guy told him, you know, oh, we gotta keep them behind the pharmacy now because people keep stealing them. Okay, I get it, you're trying to turn a profit. But the people who are stealing condoms are exactly the people we want to be using them the most. It's just like in school, when they pass out condoms, parents would always freak out. They're like, oh, now our kids are gonna have sex like crazy. Schools are encouraging it. Trust me, I went to high school. The only thing standing in the way of sex is not whether or not your kid has a condom. If abstinence is a big deal to you, do what my mom did. Sign your kid up for the forensics team. Have you seen a high school speech team? Oh my God. To be around that many virgins, you usually have to participate in a suicide bombing. You guys ever notice how drinking has all these sports analogies, you know, like pre-game or party foul? Well, back in the day, I tried to get one going. And I walked up to this guy and I was like, hey, just pulled a hamstring. What does that mean? It means I threw up on the couch. And then I did it again and I was like, 30 love. But my friends and I, we don't drink as much as we used to. I mean, we used to get wild and out crazy. Now we go and we have a couple and we make fun of all the other crazy and out people. But back in the day, we were insane. One time, we went drinking at a laundromat. Stay with me. And we drank entirely too much. And I remember I got to the point where I thought I was in a submarine, navigating through a sea of dirty panties with my 4 white friends and our Spanish-speaking group. I jumped up on a table and I was like, Maria! Set the concordance for spin cycle! Rita, get me more quarters! The engines are stalling! But the biggest thing with drinking that hit me recently is, like you guys know, I'm a new parent. And if you ever have friends that are new parents, you treat them just like you treat your friends who are drunks. You don't want to go over to their house early in the morning because they're probably going to be passed out on the couch with the clothes they wore the last night saying, dude, last night was crazy. You don't want to go over there in the afternoon because if your friend is a new parent or if they're drunk, there's still a chance you'll get thrown up on. You don't want to go late at night because if you go to a drunk friend's house, they're like, hey man, you should have this. I'm done. And it's a bottle. And you go to a new parent's house and like, hey man, you should have the baby. I'm done. Lately, I've noticed there's been a big influx in rappers and black comedians using the N-word. Everything they do. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a hit song by Jay-Z and Kanye West right now. They're two famous rappers. And their song, I kid you not, is called Niggers in Paris. Now, people think that's okay, and they download it all the time. But what would happen if Garth Brooks and Tim McGraw wrote Crackers in Texas? Everyone would go crazy about that, not in a good way. So I try to use cracker a lot in my act. You know, I try to say cracker as much as I can, try to get that going. And my goal is to one day hear two white fellows talking, and they're like, so the other day, my cracker friends and I were driving around in our paid-off vehicles. And I said to one, I said, hey, Cracker, pass me the sun chips. And the other said, not till we get to the picnic, Cracker. And then I was like, Cracker, please. Now, I used that joke at a show once. And this black guy came up to me after the show and was like, my Cracker. And I said, actually, you can't call me a cracker. Only we can call each other crackers. You can say cracker if you're rapping, but that's it. And he was like, oh no, man, I got white friends, they're cool, they're down. Last time I was here, I had my good friend Adam come out and play guitar, and we did some one-liners. Apparently everyone liked it, so we're gonna do some more. Everyone give Adam a hand.